Langille. Welcome to the morning hockey shot.
Hey Dukes, how's it going?
It's good, mate. Thanks for jumping on. I know it's nice and early there. I think it's just after 7 a.m. Over in Perth. So appreciate you getting on so early.
Yeah, anybody that knows me knows I'm not much of a morning person. So but for you, man, yeah, it's a pleasure.
I feel blessed. I
got my Tim Hortons going, so.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've got my coffee here. So people who are watching, hopefully they're kicking back with a coffee and listening to some hockey talk. I was just talking about goaltenders, and I think it's great that we've seen a few goaltenders this season getting some action and getting some minutes. What have you seen over there in Perth in terms of goaltender development and goaltenders coming through the system?
Look, it's always a struggle with developing goaltenders in Australia with the limited ice time that we have. We got a couple of young guys that are developing. Dylan Dewar, who's traveling with the team this year as a backup. Marcus Henderson, another young fellow, Taj, who plays with us in the Premier League, is looking like he's developing nicely. It's really tough getting enough ice time and enough decent competition in order to develop goaltenders. And a name probably familiar to Newcastle fans, Don McDonald, who's based over here in WA now. He's been a bit involved, and he's been a very strong voice and proponent for local goaltenders, as we've seen on a couple of social media posts. So, I think the future is positive, but your comment that traditionally the import goalies, the goalies for the AIHL have traditionally been imports, and they've relied heavily on imports to tend the cage is very, very true.
Yeah, it's probably that balance, I suppose. Hopefully we can find a balance between imports and Australian at some stage in the AI. I know in the AW there is a no import rule for goaltenders, which we've seen the development sort of spike with young Australian women goaltenders. You're obviously on here because you are the Perth Thunder commentator, bringing us all the scenes from every game over there across the weekend. The Perth Thunder, they're a team that I'm big on, and I've been big on them for a while, and I think a lot of people are. They've suited up a team that has been very competitive. And when I've spoken to Ben Bro over the last couple of years, they want the cup. Like they really want the cup, and they believe they can get the cup. What do you think is been the dip in the form this season? They did start off 4-0, look really good. The last 10 games haven't got the results that they wanted.
Yeah, well, certainly the start of the year, everybody struggled a bit with the national team players away. Perth had 5 players away, including their number one goalie, Lexi Toivonen. And yet they won the first 4 games of the season, two against Newcastle and 2 against Canberra here at home. I think one of the things that, and then it took a while to get the imports in place and so on. But one of the things that has probably affected them a little bit is some of the local players that aren't playing. Zane Jones and Billy Tenesalmi, they've taken a bit of a pre-scheduled leave mid-season, so they're not available for a few weeks. That's had a significant impact. Jamie Woodman and John Kennedy Jr. they've both just had their wives have had babies, and so they've been a bit out of the loop. So we've missed 4 significant cogs in the Thunder lineup for the last little while, and the new imports are very good, and they've really obviously stepped up. But they're still getting into the flow of AIHL hockey, and so I think there's a bit of a challenge there with the personnel, and then the young guys coming up that will be traveling this weekend are they've proven themselves to be solid additions to the team, and trying to work into the lineup as the season goes along. So I think recently that's been part of the probably part of the little downtime. I think they're 3-6 and 1 overtime loss in their last 10, and they've struggled a little bit just getting connected on the ice and making plays and keeping the puck out of the net.
You mentioned Tennisalmi as well, and I think Tennisalmi was sort of a player that sort of seemed to come out of nowhere, and just popped up into the AI and the Thunder. Exploded out of the blocks, and is just one of those players that you really enjoy going to the rink and watching. And I believe is an Australian citizen, if I've got that correct.
He's got his permanent residency, which took a long time. So he was in Perth and playing in the local sort of beer leagues from Finland. Really, really good player. To me, one of the better, if not the best, defensive forwards in the league from the penalty kill perspective, and throwing in some offense as well, and a big body. I mean, so he was sort of sitting in the weeds over here and playing the local beer leagues. A Finland national. Took a while to get his permanent residency, and that finally came through over the summer. And so now he's a full resident, and it means that Perth can splurge on that extra import as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, how big is that for the Thunder to have someone like Tennisalmi not being as part of that import, the import core roster core? I suppose
it's huge. It gives them flexibility, and that coupled with the ability to have a resident goaltender, a permanent resident or a citizen goaltender in the pipes allows Thunder to add, say, that offensive defenseman and the quarterback on the power play that the two defensemen that they brought in really do have that control of the play on the ice. So it's huge, and that coupled with Zane Jones as well, who also came over to Perth last year, and that makes a big difference in terms of the flexibility for how they choose the imports, and can be very selective in that matter.
I am here with Perth Thunder commentator Chris Langille. If you've got a comment for Chris, chuck it in the chat and I'll get it up on the screen, and we can hit a few comments at Chris. Yu Hikosaka is the points leader for the competition, known around as Mr. Showtime. I don't know. I don't even know where that come from. I'm trying to think about where that come from, that nickname. But came into the competition last season, was outstanding.
Yeah.
Are you surprised at the extra level when you look at the points total from last season and how excited it was to watch you last season? Smashed it out the park already compared to last season. Are you surprised at the jump from Hikosaka this season?
No. Yeah, you could see it. He's got that skill level, the speed, and can really move the puck, and he's got a wicked shot. The last couple of games, though, he has kind of struggled on the one-timers. He's missed a few one-timers on off the side, and I think he also probably misses his partner in crime, Benji Berard, as well, who's, as you know, he filled in as an import. His visa ran out at the end of April, so he wasn't eligible to play for the full year. But he's left Perth, and when he left, he was the second leading scorer. So that combination really, really made a big difference. But he's just a top skill guy. I mean, he did play for the Japanese national team, who were, filtering back and forth between Div 1A and the top flight of world hockey championship competition. So as advertised, and a really nice guy too, nice guy to have a chat with, and I think he fits in very well with the team. And that's part of the thing, and that's as I think you mentioned or alluded to, that the imports, when they do come over, it's not just about coming over and partying and having fun in the sun. They're contributing to the team and the hockey community as well.
Do you think that the Thunder are set up, because we've seen across the weekend last weekend, the trip to Melbourne, that you actually didn't, one of the rare times that you didn't score a goal across the weekend. Do you think the Thunder are set up well enough? And you've obviously got players that will be coming back, like you spoke about, Tennisalmi. Do you think that they're set up well enough to go for a deep finals run if Hugh isn't firing on all cylinders?
I think there's enough offensive talent that they can still make a run, but obviously he makes a huge difference And I mean, hockey's a team game. It's not like, you know, some other sports where the superstar can drive the play and run the floor. Like, for example, in basketball, it's a lot easier for one player to dominate just because they're out there for 40 minutes of the game type thing. Whereas in hockey, it's truly a team game, and that one guy can't make that huge of a difference. Although I know Dave Booth in Melbourne's trying to make a big difference the way he's come on gangbusters. But we'll leave that for another time and another discussion.
Yeah, he's started off on fire. Been electric. When I look at the Thunder team as well, I really love the physicality and the way they play. They play on the. I feel like they play on the edge. Sometimes they might step over the edge. You get a lot of fans that, especially opposition fans, obviously that get a bit grumpy about the way the Thunder play. Do you think they toe the line quite well, or do you think they slant one way to the other? Because I enjoy the way Perth play, and to me, like, that's hockey when I watch Perth play.
Yeah. Look, they've got some real character guys, and I mean, Colby Johnson coming on board. I mean, he's always on the edge, but I mean, you know, you can just tell he loves the game, the way he plays. He's one of the guys. He's been coming out for some extra ice time and skating with our Premier League team that Coach Dave Ruck and I coached together, along with Graham Hyde, and so he and Jake Hamilton have both come out just to add to the competition level. But I mean, those guys are solid guys. Hamilton is another one. He's not huge, but he's a good solid size. And Roach on the back end, I mean, he could blow guys up, but he does tend to hold back a little bit. But and then you got the locals like Al Punler, who's never afraid of a big hit. They really do have to watch, as you say, that fine line between physicality and just a bit of over exuberance, a bit maybe of an overreaction at times in retaliations, and those are the things that kill you when players are physically, you love it, but when they just cross that line and they get a bit too reactionary retaliation, you know yourself, the referees always call the retaliation penalties. And you know Zane Jones as well, when he's in the lineup. Ville, same thing. Coach Ben Bro, I've seen him throw some pretty solid hits too over the years, and for all his offensive skill and flair, he's definitely a solid player. And even the young guys, you know, Jake Ruck likes to get stuck into it, and for his size, Yannick is always Lodge is always in the middle of it, and his brother as well. You know, all those guys they don't shy away from the physical play at all.
I am here with Chris Langille, the Perth Thunder commentator. If you have a comment, please drop it in the chat. We have Mandy Ruff saying, "Good morning, Chris."
Hi, Mandy.
Alexei Toivonen was a big signing from Canberra to Perth. How has he fit in to the Thunder lineup, and I suppose into the culture as well? It's obviously, we spoke about, it's not all on ice stuff; it's a lot of the off ice stuff as well. How has Alexei fit into the Thunder, and how have you seen his season?
He's fit in very well, and you know, he makes key stops. Like any goaltender, you're only as good as the five guys in front of you. And sometimes I think the five guys in front of him have let him down defensively, making plays that I'm not going to name names, but muffins up the middle for goals that we've seen recently that you just can't do in this game. And the guys realize that, but in terms of culture, I mean, I think this is a really good team, if I can use that double word, in that they all get along very well. There's no conflicts. The boys hang out. They really do like each other and play for each other. And I think you know, it anytime you get new personalities into the mix, it always takes a while to settle into that mode. But to me, they're all character guys, the imports and the locals as well. I mean, you got the guys that have been there for a while, like Jordy Kairos and Kieran Webster's and Lyndon Lodge and who else am I missing on that lineup that all contribute to it. But the imports that come in, and that's, any team will tell you, that's the key in the Australian Ice Hockey League, is having quality guys come in on the import side of things as well, that don't just want to be there for a party, that want to be there to contribute and help the local guys develop as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We have seen a few imports over the years from different clubs come in and either not last a season or not fit in because of those reasons. We do have Steve Moyler in the chat as well. A little bit off topic, he says, but is there potential for Perth to follow on from Canberra and perhaps look at a bigger facility going forward? I would love to see it. I know you had a bit of a giggle there, Chris, but it would be great to see across the country teams moving out to bigger facilities and full bowls and things like that. What are your thoughts on potential?
Come on, what's wrong with Perth Ice Arena? Excuse me. I'm just getting over a cold, honestly. As we say at Perth, at least we're playing hockey in Perth. Like, we've got a beautiful facility down south of the river in the Coburn Ice Arena. Unfortunately, the construction of the rink is a bit difficult for AIHL hockey, and the number of capacity of fans is probably not there for AIHL hockey. Look, that's something that's been, every hockey person in Perth has talked about a new rink. And I've being the engineer that I am, I've drawn up plans even of what I see as sort of the ideal facility. But there's a little thing called money, and being a niche sport in Australia, we don't have a lot of clout in convincing local politicians that, hey, an ice rink is what you need in your community. So that's always the challenge. So absolutely, it's on the backs of everybody's mind to have a beautiful facility that the Thunder can, and the Adrenaline and the para ice guys, they can all play out of and have a true hockey rink experience.
Yeah, absolutely. The pockets aren't very deep when it comes to hockey here. If I've got this correct, is Riley's your son? Is that correct?
Yeah.
I had a thought this week, and what's it like being a commentator and commentating your son out there on the ice?
Look, I don't get to watch him because I'm so focused on the game, and the place that we call the game from in Perth is way up in the corner in the top of the stands. It's a very poor location for calling it, seeing the ice. We can't even see the side of the ice that's close to us, and we do have a monitor, but it's about 2 seconds delay. So calling Riley, I just try and call it as I see it, and try and ignore the fact that hey, he's my son. But I mean, he's really probably the only reason that I am watching and attending as much Perth Thunder games as I am. I mean, I started this sort of when he started playing for them, and before that, we were coaching and playing, and they often had games at the same time as Thunder games, so we would rarely get to go to the Thunder games. So yeah, it is a challenge, but I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. Just every time I call his name, I mean, I've been doing it since 2017 Ginsburg here in Perth, and then 2019 DeFries, and then 2022 Tange. And anybody that knows me, you can tell whenever I call his name for goals, and he scored a lot of goals in those tournaments, my voice kind of chokes up. And it even happens in Thunder games whenever he scores. So we're waiting for the first goal this season. He's got a bunch of assists, but it's fun to watch him play, and it's fun to call the games that whether he's in them or not, it's fun to call the games.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. We've got plenty of families that are connected throughout hockey, and brothers like the Trinkers and the Hughes and the McDowells and all that sort of stuff. So I think
the whole bit.
Yeah, I think it's great. Before I let you go, this weekend, the Thunder they'll travel to Central Coast and Newcastle.
Yeah.
I feel like the Thunder, they're pretty much set for finals, but it's just positioning in that top six. How big is it for the Thunder this weekend to get back on the winning road and try and push for? I'm not sure if the ice are catchable now, but to get that second spot.
It makes a huge difference in such a short weekend finals tournament when you have to play the play-in or semifinal coming in against the fifth and sixth place teams. Got to turn around the next day and play the semifinal. in order to make it into the final. It for such a short weekend and fairly intense competition, it does make a difference. And you could sort of tell that last year. We were at the finals last year, and you sort of tell that last year when they played the first games. They just it takes a lot out of you in that short level. And so I think it's huge if they can get that second place. And they really have to start today, this weekend. They can't take Central Coast lightly. Despite the standings, they've got a couple of young fellows, the Kuleshov brothers, that can put the puck in the net. We know that. I don't have a lot of detail or background. I know they picked up a couple of the Ice Dogs and Bears players that filled in the ranks, and I don't know a lot about their imports. So it could be a totally different game. And then the game against Newcastle, and Newcastle's only 3-4 points behind them in the standings. And so that's always a challenge. Ethan Hawes back on defense, and the imports there. They've got a tough team, and I know, talking to the coach last time they were in town, the first 2 games of the season, they're looking to make some noise this year too.
Yeah, absolutely. And the North Stars have got the adrenaline clipping at their heels as well, trying to get into that top 6. So they'll be ready to play. So it should be a really good weekend of hockey between the Thunder and the Rhinos, and the Thunder and the North Stars as well. Chris, I've probably kept you longer than I initially said I would. I know it's early over there, but thanks so much for jumping on and having a chat about the Thunder and having a bit of a laugh about Perth Ice Arena as well.
Well, look, I don't want to make fun of the Perth Ice Arena. It's home, and I love it. I mean, I still play 3 times a week, so it's and the guys there are really good. So I don't want to make too much of a thing there. The ice does tend to cut up pretty good, and I know the boys that come here. That's what I always tell them. At least we're playing hockey in Perth. So.
Absolutely. I'll be in Perth for the final round of the Thunder's game at the end of August. So I look forward to catching up with you and saying hello. And
absolutely. Yeah, I caught up with Gord good enough at the finals last year for the first time. So it's always good to catch up with fellow broadcasters, and I think it's really important that we communicate back and forth as we do through our Aussie Hockey Broadcasters Facebook page that we've set up, and just to get things like pronunciations of players' names and so on right. So it improves the quality of the broadcast, I think, and it's something that's really near and dear to my heart in terms of moving things forward. So it'd be good to catch up when you get here.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I look forward to it. Enjoy the rest of your morning. Thanks for jumping on. I know it's nice and early over there for you. It's about 7:30. Enjoy the rest of your day. You might end up going back to sleep.
Nah, not now. I'm all ready to go.
Go out to the ice rink and hit a few pucks around.
Yeah. Getting ready to watch the game. That's what my Saturday is. Plus, other stuff. All right, mate.
All right, mate. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. It's been a real pleasure.
There he goes, Chris Langille, the Perth Thunder commentator.